Good evening. My name is John Solinsky. I reside at 183 Solinsky Road, McDonald, PA. My family's been in this township for over 100 years, and in that time frame, we have had shallow oil wells on our property. And the reason I'm speaking is because I'm for these wells, and my family, I'm third generation. I have kids, and we played around them our entire lives. And to me, it didn't faze anyone. No one got sick in my family, no one's passed away from cancer. That being said, Pennsylvania is known for some of the best crude oil in the world. A company named Brad Penn manufactures motor oil. And that also is in relations to the gas industry. And I wanted to bring that up because that comes from right where we originated in McDonald, PA. And that's what I have to say. Thank you.
You can just come right down through the front.
Hi, my name is Sharon Vegas. I reside at 162 Cecil Henderson Road. I've been here to several meetings, so I know most of you that you've seen me before. I was born and raised on Cecil Henderson Road, went to Houston, Texas for 36 years, and came back to Cecil Township to that road, okay? There's a lot of people here who are, I'm in this area is so different from where I came from. And what happened here is I see a unity. I mean, you're seeing people divided on this, but I see a lot of unity. Nobody cares if you're Democrat, if you're Republican, they don't care. They're talking about people's health, and today,
I'm sorry, can you talk a little louder into the microphone? Next time, just yell, because they can't hear you back there.
Okay, we were, today alone.
If you just face us, just hold it closer here.
Okay, Pennsylvania we are now, Pittsburgh,
Hold it.
Pennsylvania. Okay, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and our surrounding area is the worst air in the nation. Today, this is what's come out. It's the worst air in the nation. You can Google that, and I want to tell you why this is so important to me. I don't know if anybody knows who George Mitchell is. George Mitchell, he was the guy who started all the fracking. He was a personal friend of mine in Houston. He was so upset. He was an environmentalist. He made all kinds of different projects and housing developments in Houston with woods everywhere. You're not even allowed to have a sign. It's just trees are everywhere. They're Mitchell developments. And he was so distraught that he started all of this. He started fracking. And when he died, before he died, he was so concerned that he had opened Pandora's box. So we have all got to work together. We can't put this back in the box. Everyone knows that we've all benefited from all of the range resources and all the other oil and gas industries. Yes, we've all benefited. But we've got to find a way to change the ordinance or somebody having a happy medium on this. Because what is risk is we just don't want to be the number one for that reason in the United States, that we have the worst air quality. So we're just begging you to try and get together and listen to everyone in regard to this. Nobody wants to stop the fracking. When George died, he says it'll never be stopped, but it has to be controlled. And that's all they're asking. Thank you for letting me speak.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to speak. My name is Ayana Lewandowski. I live on Klinger Road in Cecil Township. I've lived there for over 35 years now. First of all, I commend anyone in this township who gives their time to this community. I'm not one of you, for whatever reasons, but I'm grateful to have all of you here. I know you put your hearts, your think tanks, your families into consideration when you make your decisions on a weekly and monthly basis. I have grandchildren in this township, and I love them dearly. And I bought a farm here 35 years ago with my husband, and it's been a joy to raise children there. As much as I don't want to see it go away, it's part of my retirement. And if gas and oil doesn't stay in the community, I will probably have to, I hate to say this, but sell to some developer so that I can leave my grandchildren something that I've worked very hard for. What I've heard tonight, and I think to sum it up, I care deeply about the people that have lost children to these cancers. I care about the people who have decided to make their homes and retire in this community because it is such a great place. But I also believe that we have two groups here who need to work a heck of a lot closer together to make this work. We have a gold mine in this county. And for it to end up the way that it should, with people who stay here and support this community, and personally, if I ever hit the lottery, I would love to give something back to this community. I might not be able to do that today, but someday I might. And so the decisions that we make today can have a big bearing on helping our township move forward in the future. I don't want to get rich on gas and oil, but by the same token, I feel like I've paid taxes for a lot of years, and I think maybe my grandchildren are entitled to something that I never had an opportunity to have. So, you know, if the few of us in this township are fortunate enough to profit off of it, call it greed, call it what you want, but we could be the very people that give back in the end. And thanks again for your work.
Good evening, my name is Dustin Kish. I reside at 2006 Patrick Drive in the Windsor
Could
Woods.
you hold the microphone and speak? Sorry.
I sure can.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to come out here and speak, and I'd like to ask you for a few things. I want to ask you for time and distance. Those two things are interrelated. It's been well documented in the state of today, I live about 600 feet from a new well pad. I do appreciate the fact that my heat works and my lights come on, but I also understand that accidents do happen. Time and distance protects people. If we move these well pads and these drilling sites further away, it gives us more time to deal with accidents that happen and more distance away from anything that comes out of the ground that could be harmful to us. That being said, I lost my train of thought. I'm a little nervous standing here talking to the
Take your time.
room. I guess I'll wrap up with that since I can't.
Okay, hold on a second. So before we move on to anyone else, I'm going to open it up to anyone who has a child in Cameron Millen School District that would attend to Cecil, or to any other individual who likes to speak before we have people come back up for a second time. Is someone's... Okay, go ahead, Diana. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Here it comes.
Thank you. My name is Lisa Graves Marcusi. I'm a lifelong resident of the Mon Valley, and I've worked for 10 years for an environmental nonprofit called the Environmental Integrity Project. We help communities like yours, and we're in the process of helping a number who are updating their oil and gas ordinance. I want to commend you, I think it's been said, I want to commend you and the other local officials who are taking this important step. There have been a lot of lessons learned over the years. Fracking and the oil and gas infrastructure has been here for about a decade now. And initially when industry came to town, there were a lot of promises made. And we're a very trusting lot here in Western Pennsylvania. And we believe that. And for some people, those narratives came true. But for some, they did not. And so there are a couple things that I want to just point out to you as you're undertaking this. There are rules of the road that we now all know, and you've heard it mentioned here tonight. The MPC is one of them. The other, not reinventing the wheel, using other examples from other communities, valuable information. But there are two other pieces of information I want to leave with you. The first thing is, I don't know how many of you are aware that currently the Pennsylvania Attorney General has undertaken a criminal investigation of the oil and gas operations in Western Pennsylvania, some of them specific to Washington County. That has entailed the impaneling of a grand jury. We don't know when that report will be made final, but if and when it's made final and it shows that there were serious enough mistakes that were made that rose to the level of the Attorney General convening a criminal investigation about damages to the Commonwealth, that means to me that local governance becomes the very important frontline defense. Your local land use issues will become the #1 issue, the #1 variable in protecting public health, safety, and welfare. Now, you've heard it here said tonight that industry says that they're a good neighbor and they're always in compliance. Let me tell you firsthand account. A few years ago, I was called as a witness before the United States Department of Justice for an investigation that involved a criminal investigation of the US EPA as well as the DOJ of Mark West and their operations in Western Pennsylvania and southeastern Ohio. It resulted in a very large fine. The findings came out, and I can send them to you if you want, in April of 2018, I believe, and it resulted in a federal consent decree, which means they have to go back and do certain things under federal jurisdiction. They have to go back and re-permit about 200 of their facilities that the United States government believed they violated the Clean Air Act. So when industry says that they're highly regulated, and industry says that they want to be a good neighbor, I think they want to be, but I think mistakes happen. I think problems have occurred. I think problems will continue to occur, but I think the smart thing to do is what you're doing, is to take a moment, to pause, to reflect, to take the lessons learned, use that information to make wise decisions to protect your community now and in the future. I think this is an important crossroads, and I know I'm working with some of the citizens here. We welcome the opportunity to work with you, to fact check, to do research, whatever it might take, so that it is done in a reasonable and safe way. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you.